How old was y'all when y'all found out that Barney was never there?
What?
They said it in the theme song. Barney is a dinosaur from our imagination.
Wait, so all those kids were crazy? No, because there was a lot of them, and they was together, so it was like some mass psychosis. Those poor baby childrens. Oh no.
What's up, YouTube fam? Welcome to Mr. Love 1985. You know, I gotta apologize for not getting a video out last week. It's been a little crazy here. My garage ceiling started leaking due to the AC and made an impromptu waterfall right in the middle of my garage. So I've been dealing with that, but we're back and we're going to be doing something a little different today. I'm actually going to be watching the videos with you so we can react to them together. And it's about to get crazy. So let's check out some of these videos.
Most people think Cabbage Patch Kids were just a strange 1980s toy, but the idea behind them is much older and much stranger. Before the dolls ever existed, old world postcards showed babies literally growing out of cabbages. Thousands of them. This imagery was common in the late 1800s and early 1900s. And here's where it gets unsettling. During that same time period, babies were actually being mailed through the U.S. Postal Service. Not figuratively, literally shipped like packages. There were also advertisements that looked less like adoption and more like shopping. People browsing, selecting children, almost like inventory. Now consider something else from that era. Old photographs show entire cities already built, but strangely empty. Massive streets, grand buildings, very few people. Some researchers ask a disturbing question. What if children were being removed from families and redistributed to repopulate these found cities?
Now, you notice if you look in the background, a lot of these old photos, they have what's called the vanilla sky, which means they've basically photoshopped all the things that are in the sky and just made it blank to appear a certain way. But I have to agree with some of these things. Like if you've seen any of these old world buildings in person, it is crazy. The architecture, I mean, these are all over the world, even here in the United States, and they can't build these today. We build like crap shacks. We have like big square buildings that deteriorate after like, you know, just a few years. But these buildings have stood the test of time because I believe they were here before any of us. And the stories they say, these were built or founded in 18 whatever. Yeah, they say founded on them because they found them this way. So something to think about.
Cities often associated with Tartarian-style architecture. Places that look finished but underoccupied. Why do so many early city photos look more like set pieces than living communities? And why does this period coincide with mass orphaning, child relocation programs, and the normalization of adoption over birth? Some believe the cabbage imagery symbolized children with no recorded origin. Not born here, but placed here.
I'm fully convinced that Harry Potter was directly inspired by Satan because when you look at J.K. Rowling, she was on a podcast a long time ago basically saying that a third of the spells that she wrote in the book were done through automatic writing.
Oh, really?
And for those who don't know what automatic writing is, it's where you let a demon take over your body and write through you. When you're watching these movies that are glorifying the occult and glorifying witchcraft, a lot of people think that like the spells are just fiction, it's just fables, but these are actually being inspired by demonic spirits. And check this out too, a lot of people who end up getting into the occult, you ask them what their favorite movie was as a child, guess what they'll say?
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, every time.
It's so involved in our culture, dude. It's everything, man.
I have heard of that before where I've seen, I think, an interview with Santana, and he was talking about how he writes his songs and things like that. And he says he kind of just goes to a place and gets in like a trance-like situation, and then something takes over and just starts writing the songs for him. So I think there is definitely something to that.
They must think we're not paying attention. But ever since CERN shut down, things have been totally different. Case in point, who is this man right here? And after you tell me who he is, because I know everybody knows his name, I want you to tell me how his last name is spelled. So for those of you that don't know, this is a famous American pastor. His first name is Joel, and his last name is Osteen. At least that was his last name years ago. But right now, they're saying that his last name isn't the same last name that we all know it is. Now, if you know him, you know for sure that his last name had an L in it. Olsteen. But ever since that hydrogen collider machine shut off, this is what they're saying his last name is now. But you're going to have a lot of people say, that is his last name. His last name never had an L in it. Well, if that's the case, then what is this? And don't tell me this is a computer error. See, what it is anything that's digital can be altered. It can be changed. But one thing you can't control is computer error. Why is the L here and the L isn't here?
Funny story with this one. My wife is actually from Houston, Texas, where this guy's church is located. In the first year of our marriage, we went to his church a few times, and I'm not sure if I can remember if it's Osteen or Olstein, what I heard in the past. All I know is when they were passing that plate around, I did put some money in there, and after finding out a little more about this guy, I definitely want a refund.
And we can go down a couple of rabbit holes of things that happened since CERN shut down. Fruit of the Loom Cornucopia, Chick-fil-A K, Bernstein Bear, and the list goes on. But the question I need to ask you is, why do you think they're doing this? Or do you think we jump timelines?
All right, so as this cyclospora is spreading, I have a question. I really do. So cyclospora, the only known host that allows the parasite to mature, is a human. No other animal, no other plant, just the humans. And it's shed through our feces. So that had me go down a rabbit hole because I'm like, what the heck? If only humans have this particular parasite, how did it get in the bagged lettuce? So my daughter and I were speaking to each other, and my daughter goes, well, what about the fertilizer shortage? You know, a lot of people compost and use manure, and because it's not carried by cows or any other animals, is it because they were using human feces as fertilizer? The only other option, or the only other thought, is that these plants are using gray water, you know, like dirty gray water, to wash the vegetables with. How in the heck did this particular parasite get on the plants? Now, the plants can be carriers, like it can live on there, but it can't go through its cycle to maturity unless it's in a human body. So the only way they would have it on them is if they were splashed with infected water or infected feces. What the heck is going on?
You don't want it. Is it real cocoa? Nope. It ain't good.
She don't want it.
Is it good cocoa?
I definitely need to get a horse.
I'm talking about AI, artificial intelligence, the missing link between computers and human thought.
You mean machines that think?
Yes, and with a will of their own, they could process
92
times faster than we, yet still be able to make the leaps of intuition that inspired our greatest minds.
Sounds as if the human race would become quite expendable.
You have to sacrifice loved ones. You have to sacrifice loved ones for a long period of time if you want to be great. You have to sacrifice loved ones.
LeBron is openly telling you truth in plain sight. Now, people could say that what he meant by that is because of the time that he spends away from family. But when you really begin to research things for what they are, you will see things exactly for what they are. And again, make no mistake about it. These guys are in the positions that they are in for a reason. And they must do certain things in order to stay in the positions that they are in. So this is why things like this happens with these people. People really need to wake up and realize exactly what is going on. And all of these sports leagues are scripted.
I mean, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. I used to work in Hollywood, and they put a lot of messaging in there, and you got to pick up upon some of that. The truth's in there. But yeah, I do believe that a lot of the things that we're watching as a society are definitely scripted.
Okay, hold on a second. Did you guys hear the new theory that I can't believe I missed, that I've never heard of this before? But it completely makes sense, and it is a little bit mind-blowing, and I'm sure there's going to be more that we can uncover. So, did you know there's two brothers who make all these movies? Christopher Nolan and his brother, and then they have an older brother as well. So Christopher Nolan and his younger brother, they both are directors, producers. They make movies. They made Dark Knight, Interstellar, etc. Well, they also made Oppenheimer. Well, you may be thinking, what's their oldest brother do? Like, is he in the movie industry as well? No, he was accused by the Costa Rican authorities of being involved in a 2005 contract unaliving and allegedly used the alias Matthew McCall Oppenheimer, which came out in federal court documents that, yes, he had multiple fake identities and aliases, including Matthew McCall Oppenheimer. So what's the theory? That movies will be made with certain titles that make your Google searches go to that movie instead of, like if you type in Oppenheimer right now, you find out about this cool movie that was made, not the Oppenheimer contract. So then get this, you have the movie Frozen, Disney Frozen. If you know that elite knowledge about what about Disney and being frozen, you'll have to, well, I'd say Google it, but that won't come up anymore, will it? Someone in the comments will comment it. Then we have the theory that they named the horse in Elden Ring Torrent so that when people Googled Elden Ring Torrent, it would cover up piracy results. The Captain America Winter Soldier movie. Now when you Google Winter Soldier movie, you get that instead of the documentary about U.S. atrocities in Vietnam. Taylor Swift. Did she go to a Jets game to cover up the trending negative press about her private jet use? So is this a thing that's going on? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow. Cover up piracy results. The Captain America Winter Soldier movie. Now when you Google Winter Soldier movie, you get that instead of the documentary about U.S. atrocities in Vietnam. Taylor Swift. Did she go to a Jets game to cover up the trending negative press about her private jet use?
Like I just said in the last clip, they do put things in the movies, but it's not going to surprise me if they're covering up things and searches and things like that by changing the titles of the movies. Titles, working titles change all the time. And it's not going to, like I said, it's not going to surprise me at all if they're using that for their benefit while we continue to pay to watch all these things.
I'm going to teach you something called the God hours, which are in between the hours of 1 and 3 a.m. Humans, for majority of time, slept on the cycle called biphasic sleep, which meant that you would sleep for 4 hours, and then you'd be awake for 2, and then you would sleep for another 4 hours. A company called Simmons Beauty Rest in 1938 invented the 8-hour work night so that they could sleep mattresses, and they put out a bunch of fake news propaganda at that time, essentially hiring a psychologist who faked all of his studies on sleep. And even though it's, been confirmed, majority of human modern history, the past literally 1,000+ years, most humans were sleeping on a biphasic sleep cycle. Mozart wrote all of his symphonies between the hours of 1 and 3 a.m., and he called it the God hours. The God hours are not insomnia. Insomnia was a term that was deemed from Simmons Beauty Rest and the psychological studies that they put out, because factories needed people to sleep 8 hours so they could be at work the next day. So to increase factory production, especially during World War II times, they wanted more people to be at the factories and do all of this stuff. Simmons Beauty Rest profited. They made hundreds of millions of dollars on promoting this mattress stuff. Anyways, biphasic sleep, you sleep for 4 hours, you get up for 2. So you don't really have insomnia. Those are hours that most people throughout human history would get up, they would make love, they would write, they would do all this. Shakespeare wrote most of his plays between the hours of 1 and 3 a.m. So if you find yourself waking up in the middle of the night, write, create, do the thing, journal, pray, meditate, make love, that's what those hours are for. If you don't have 10 hours to spare between night and the morning, that's fine. But if you do, or you find yourself getting up between those hours, get up and do something, because you go from a delta brainwave to a theta brainwave, which theta promotes a flow state. So when you wake up, there's about a 5-minute shift between a delta brainwave and you go into theta brainwaves, and then you go into beta brainwaves, and then alpha brainwaves, which are work oriented, right? After that amount of time. So use your theta state to write, to produce, to create. For a lot of years, I've been getting up between the hours of, guess what, 2 and 4 a.m. And I've spent a lot of time writing and doing my best work between the hours of, 2:30 and like 4:30 and 5 a.m. I'm super productive. So if you're an entrepreneur or you have a creative side, those hours are calling you. They're called the God hours, and you should use it. And if you don't believe me, go look into the Simmons Beauty Rest conspiracy about how they sold and promoted mattresses in the 8-hour sleep cycle. You don't need 8 hours, right? You probably need 6, maybe 7, but use those hours in the middle of the night if you have it to produce and create. It'll be the best work you ever do. I promise.
You know, I tend to believe that because I've always considered myself like a night owl. And, you know, sometimes I'll take a nap during the day, but then I'm up all night, sometimes until 5 a.m., 6 a.m. And that's, you know, the juices start flowing and I work at a better level than I do like in the morning or during the day and stuff like that. So there's, you know, something to that.
What he just say?
The world's biggest computer. I want to donate it to the government as a gift for the benefit of all people. What does this computer do? But now, with the geek in control, nobody will have to work, not even housewives. What will people do all day? Oh, why, just sit home in their geek-built houses, eat geek-prepared meals, and spend the whole day watching movies and sporting events on their geek television sets.
But that means actors and athletes will still have to do their jobs.
No. The actors and athletes won't be real people. They'll be electronic images programmed to go through the motions of a play or a variety show or an athletic event.
Hey, imagine Joe Namath can sit at home and watch himself playing a football game that he never really played.
Yes, exactly. No one will have to wear himself out doing a job of work. The geek will do it all.
You know, that's the second clip from an old cartoon with Batman in it that's predicting the future. Supposedly, they're kind of telling us the truth back then. When I was a little kid, I used to watch that, the Super Friends, and then I even watched that Batman animated series. So something to think about. It sounds a lot like Elon Musk, what he's been saying about universal basic income for everybody, and that AI and all these robots are going to take everybody's jobs. So I think I need to start looking at more old cartoons.
So is this the real Egypt?
Yes. Think about it. Malcolm X, when he went to Egypt, he came back and said, that's not them. That's us on them statues. We the true Egyptians.
Who was the true Egyptians?
At that time, they were saying African American, but it's the copper-colored Indians.
So is this the real Egypt?
Yes. Mississippi is Nile River. Texas, the second largest state, right? Texas was all the states that was around it.
You know, I tend to believe this, and funny story, but I am originally from Texas, and when I moved from there all these years ago, about 15 years ago, I actually have always referred to Texas as Egypt. Maybe it's the heat.
So if Texas was a part of all that, Egypt. That's why it takes so long for Texas to change their laws, because they know they have the most majority of gods and goddesses. And you thinking about San Antonio, Austin area, all this is tied.
Wonder if that's why I was drawn here.
Yeah, it's the city of gods.
City of gods. Look, I said it was Egypt. Got to get the hell out of there.
The United States is a cult. The United States government is a cult.
Yeah, it's all Masons.
Yeah, Freemasons, and it's built on sacred geometry, because that's why they have the compass in there.
Disney is too. Oh my God. You know about Disney? They built everything on sacred geometry.
Yes. So
the cruise ships, everything.
So Walt Disney, there's pictures of him in a Masonic lodge all over the place. So that's all. I mean, they have Club 33.
I don't know how much more obvious it could be, but
symbolism is all through their cartoons. This is why they have all those PDF file logos through all all their cartoons with the swirls. It's everywhere. How is it that if you look at Little Mermaid and Lion King, so in the Lion King, you remember that one scene where he lays down and the bed of flowers, the rose petals goes up in the air and it says S-E-X?
Yeah.
That's in the Lion King. Literally. If you freeze frame it and then it spells out S-E-X.
Am I crazy, or maybe you guys felt this way too, but were you depressed from watching every single Disney movie, even Lilo and Stitch? Like, was there something just so low frequency about watching those movies that it like...
I know my daughter watches Encanto, and I get what you mean, because it's not a sad, it's weird. I understand what you mean. We don't talk about Bruno. Yeah, but it is a low, like, kind of frequency when you're watching
Feel
it.
it,
So,
right?
yeah, I don't know what it is.
Like, I tried to watch, my boyfriend tried to get me to watch Lilo and Stitch. Never seen it.
Yeah.
My grandmother, like, probably thought it was weird and didn't let me watch it. And I tried to watch it with him. I went in the other room and, like, he was still watching it. And I'm like, sorry, like, I have to turn this shit off.
I can give you the reason why.
Why?
Kids are youth. They're more empathetic when it comes to, oh no, look, there's a pretty kitty cat. Kitty cat falls. Oh no, the cat. That makes the kid actually care about the kitty cat.
Yeah, whatever.
And now I want to, can I have that kitty cat? Now I want to buy it.
Yeah.
It's just to attach you.
Oh, okay. That's
It's just to emotionally attach you, so you actually want to own it. You want to protect it. You need it. Now, mommy, please buy me that. Buy me that.
But you can tell they use it in a nefarious way to do that for a capitalistic type of way.
Absolutely.
Go buy the toy. Oh, yeah, the person died in the thing, or we feel bad for this, or go buy this. And
that's
What do you think about the Grim Tales then? Walt Disney put the Grim Tales as
The Grim Tales?
Grim Tales.
What Grim Tales?
What is that?
What is that?
That's Snow White.
Okay,
the
so-
evil witch who eats babies.
I got you.
Okay.
Okay. Snow White. They actually, when they went to go and make these things, they bought a whole bunch of these stories. These are all old stories.
They're not wrong about that 33 Club at Walt Disney World and Disneyland, and also the symbolism that is in most, if not every one of these Disney movies. So if you go look for it, you will find it.
Hey, I'm Brandy, and whenever I'm in Mississippi, I'm kicking it with Kixie 107. Peace.
They got her. They got her.
What happened
in
to
the world
Moesha?
happened to Brandy? Who the heck are you, lady? This isn't the Brandy that I remember. You go to her IG and you're seeing images like this or this, and she literally looks ageless. But now, this is what we're seeing. What is going on with celebrities around the mouth, around the eyes, the cheekbones? I am seeing
That
tons of them
Ozempic.
in Hollywood. There's Sharon and Kelly Osbourne. There's Ariana Grande. There's Anna Faris. There's Olivia Wilde. Something is going on. You'll see edited photos from this event where she looks similar to her post on IG, but that is not what we're seeing in real life.
People often ask where I found my boys. But before I found my boys, I found love. And so much of that love lives right here.
There is something about this speech that feels completely off. Not only that, but she is almost completely unrecognizable. And again, it's like overnight. One day they're looking like this, and the next they're looking like this. Same with Olivia Wilde. What is going on?
You know, I started noticing a while back with these celebrities, the gaunt look on their face and just that look of like they're emaciated and stuff. And definitely people are saying it's Ozempic and things like that. That's been flying around. It's definitely something going on with them. I'm not sure.
Now you have to connect the dots so I don't get in trouble here, but I loved Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles growing up. But listen, they were reptiles living in the sewers of New York that ate nothing but pizza. Their master was a rat, and they were hidden and protected by journalists. In your face.
Not the Ninja Turtles. You're just blowing up my childhood, man. That is definitely something to think about. Reptiles eating nothing but pizza, living in the sewers of New York. I want to thank you guys for watching the videos and for hanging out. Thank you for liking and subscribing. We have already passed 1,000 subs and we're on our way to 10,000. I thank you guys very much for being part of this community. It's been a nice talk. We will see you guys in the next one. Later.